So let's do this here. And I'm going to do that exercise with Mike Golic here. Let's bring him up here. Let's bring our friend up here, Mike Golic. Mike, how you doing, brother? I appreciate it. Hopefully you had a great Easter.
Oh, it was wonderful. Had all the grandkids in. So it was great seeing the grandkids, but now I need a friggin' vacation.
Hey, man, Grandpa's moving around, going everywhere, right? Taking them to the zoo and all good, right?
Oh, yeah, the zoo, the aquarium, the pool, the train park. Oh, my God, it was nonstop.
Mike, I want to get your opinion on this here. You know, we just had a great exercise here. You know, if you're in Philly, and as you know, Howie Roseman right now can't do any wrong.
Right.
Okay? But let me ask you how you look at where I'm going to bring this up to you here. So in the last 4 drafts, okay, there's only one player still on the team. Actually, there's 2. Jack Driscoll in the 4th. It's Jaylen Hurts. There's no defensive players from that draft. 2021. There's no defensive players on the team now because Milton is now 25 years old. He's in New England.
Right.
There's not one defensive player that's on the current roster now. 2022. Most people in Philly don't believe Jordan Davis is going to get the extension because he plays 20 plays a game. He's not a 3-down guy. And that's going to command 13 to 14 million. Where, Mike, get this, 9 guys on offense make $228 million of the 270 cap. Jacoby Dean has played 19 of 51, or excuse me, started 19 of 51 games. So they're probably not going to get a second contract with Jacoby or Jordan. Jalen Carter for sure. Nolan Smith. Sidney Brown most likely will not. Keely Ringo won't. Moro Jomo probably as a swing tackle. It'll be a friendly deal. So there's 3 defensive guys. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Jalix Hunt, all showed fabulous promise. Probably even Trotter Jr. Okay? So you have 8 guys on defense in the last 4 drafts. A lot of it has been done with free agents, and most of the time, the Eagles don't get the second contracts. My pushback, we were just talking, isn't the idea to player develop a guy like Milton Williams at 25 years of age and to continue to develop that player and have him be an impact on your team instead of allowing a guy like him and, Josh Sweat, 28 years old, to leave the building? They're spending so much money on one side of the ball. Give me your takeaway on what I just said.
Well, I mean, listen, it's they prioritize, right? And it's not about sides of the ball. It's about talent on the field. If you have talent on the offensive side of the field, you're going to prioritize that. Now, that doesn't mean you don't care about the defensive side of the field, but you can't pay everybody, right? You just can't. Especially, that's the one thing about, Howie Roseman. If you get draft picks now some draft picks haven't worked out, A, by talent, B, by injury, which injury you can never prognosticate. Talent, listen, you can misread somebody and it doesn't work out. And then you listen, you have Jalen Carter, but you have Milton, how much do you pay? Listen, and we're going to find out. We're going to find out what he was paid in New England if he was, I don't want to say overpaid, because you're not overpaid. You're paid what somebody thinks you're worth. So, but that may be too rich for Philadelphia when you know what you have to do with Jalen Carter. So it's all about prioritizing and foresight of not only what you have to pay an individual, but when you have to pay them. Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, look like absolute studs.
Absolutely.
But they're both going to be in the second year of their deal. So that's still pretty friendly. You got a couple of years before you even have to worry about renegotiating, let alone picking up an option. And some you don't even have to pick up an option. So that's what it comes down to. While you try and keep it balanced on both sides of the ball, you still have to prioritize on how good that player is and to keep him. Cam Jurgens becoming the second highest paid center. We all knew that he was a hell of a center, and that's one side of or part of the team that comes as 5. That's just not, 2 D tackles or 2 D ends or 1 quarterback or 2 wide receivers. That's 5 offensive linemen. That you look at what Saquon Barkley did his last year in the Giants and his first year in Philly. Saquon's a great back, don't get me wrong, but you can't tell me a lot of that wasn't because of the line he was running behind. So you have to have priorities.
You know, Mike, maybe what I'm doing here is, again, because like back in the day when you and I played, I mean, it was about stockpiling players, getting the second contracts. And in today's salary cap era, you know, you've got to prioritize, especially in the O-line. I mean, look at this. Both tackles are $25 million. The guard, Landon, is 21. They just gave Jurgens $21 million. The back's making 20. The quarterback's making 51. Both receivers are one's 35, 32. The other's 25. I mean, there's no doubt that's where we are in the NFL today. Is at the point that, hey, defense is a luxury. Hugh Douglas says this all the time. Defense is a luxury. But you've got to have that money on that side of the ball.
Yeah, listen, defense, you could still say it helps win championships, but if you can have productive players on offense, and again, the offensive line you talk about, it's an unsexy position to talk about, but when you're good, you damn well talk about it. You know, and you have receivers and a running back and a quarterback, where on defense, you know, you want to have a pass rusher, whether it's Jaylen Carter pushing the middle or an edge rusher and Nolan Smith. You want to have a linebacker. You want to have a couple of DBs. You know, you want to have in specific spots, you know, on the defensive side of the ball where your stars can take over a game and fill in the other spots with guys who can play good, sound defense.
Mike, the offseason here for the Eagles, obviously, they lost quite a few players on the defensive side of the football. Hurts last year at 29.03. He was great in two of the most important games. He was spectacular in the NFC title game, and he was spectacular, obviously, in the Super Bowl, too. The offense was 30th in passing. And now with that defense, having not the same personnel back, they were number one in the National Football League. How important is them for them to create a little more balance instead of being just number one or number two in rushing? Can't be number 30. Has to be more weight, you think, on that offensive side of the ball, because that defense has got a lot of new faces.
Well, I guess I would say it this way. It would be nice, but who's putting the rings on? Listen, they won. I mean, they won. Not to say that that's how you want to do it, have the top rushing attack and the 30th passing attack. That's not quite the balance you're looking for. But they're going to have a ring ceremony. I mean, listen, and you know when after you win a title that's money for some guys on your team to go somewhere else. Because again, you can't pay them all. Now they have a ring, their market value is high, and they go sign somewhere else for big money. And they may earn that big money. Again, I don't begrudge them going for that money, and you're worth what somebody is willing to pay you. But yes, you can always look for improvement, but the results speak for themselves. They were the last team standing.
Absolutely. Mike, the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, your take on him. You know, it's funny when you look at him, all I see is this. You put his resume up and you're like, Jesus, this guy's been doing this stuff since he was in college. He was SEC Player of the Year. He's been on a national title team. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won. Yet when you put him up next to the other guys and you put the numbers up, this and that, and like you say, Mike, let's come to the finish line here and let's fast forward to the finish line. This guy's a champion now, and he's a Super Bowl MVP. How do you quantify him, and where do you put him when it comes to the other NFL quarterbacks? If you were going to build your team, Mike, would you build your team with Jalen Hurts, or would you build it with the other guys like Burrow and Allen?
Well, I mean, Burrow, Allen, Lamar Jackson's got a couple of MVPs. You know, he threw, 41 touchdowns last year?
Yep.
And just 4 interceptions. And they had a great rushing attack with Derrick Henry. I mean, that's why there seemed to be some drama with the Eagles, A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, even during some of the wins, because there isn't the high-powered passing offense. Rarely this has not been a running league, right?
Yeah, right.
The running back position has been so undervalued and underpaid. Though Saquon finally hit, $20 million a year, with the extension. But the rushing attack, running backs, I mean, Bijan Robinson is going to be the next guy that probably breaks that. But the running back has been an undervalued position, and normally teams don't live on the run. But two of the better teams did. Baltimore and certainly Philadelphia lived on the run. So it's still odd to see when you're normally looking at heavy passing attack like Cincinnati. Look at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's got the number one passer, the number one receiver, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So, I mean, would you rather have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and that defense? Or the team that was more balanced and closed the deal. So I don't really go into what quarterback would you rather. Are there better passing quarterbacks than Jalen Hurts? Yes, there are. But in the offense that he's asked to run, he thinks on his feet and runs, has designed run plays, and throws the ball when needed. Now, Howie Roseman, give him credit, 2 great wide receivers as well to throw to, and an excellent tight end for the last couple of years in Goddard. But it all has to work hand in hand. Are there better pure passing quarterbacks? Yes, there are. But again, Jalen's the one putting on the ring because it all came together.
Absolutely. Mike, some draft questions for you. I said this, maybe you disagree and think it's a little bit better here. I said this, I think the value of this upcoming draft Thursday is in the bottom half of the draft and in the mid rounds. I think it's like from 15 down, maybe in rounds 2 and 3. This is where you're going to get value because if you look at all the grades and you look at some of the Blusto numbers, Mike, you got everyone kind of looks the same here. And how do you see this draft on Thursday?
You got 2, I think. Again, this is all on paper because we know, especially quarterbacks, half the quarterbacks in the first round become busts.
Right.
And they're so overvalued and overplayed, drafted in the first round. But for everybody else, you look at positions and you look at who potentially, and I use the word potentially, could stand out. Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, right?
Yep.
And maybe throw one lineman in there. I mean, the kid from Missouri certainly kind of picked up his slack. I'm drawing.
Meebo.
Yeah. He picked up some slack, but there's a number of good offensive linemen as well, especially offensive tackles, a couple of interior linemen. But they're really, even Cam Ward going to go number 1. I don't think anybody's looking at Cam Ward as a generational player.
No, I'm not.
He's just the best quarterback in this group. But Travis Hunter, with the ability to play, multiple positions on both sides of the ball, and Abdul Carter playing one of the premier positions of edge and be able to get into the ball, those are kind of your stars. The rest are, when you say best player available or need, depends on what direction you want to go in. But look at the discussion we're having at quarterback. I mean, we've got Shedeur Sanders going 3 or 21. I mean, we've got him possibly going high or falling. There's talks that people now like Jackson Dart more than Shedeur Sanders. The quarterbacks are always going to get the talk. Ashton Genty, what he's talked about with Omarion Hampton, 2 running backs in the first round. But the running back position is deep. You may be able to get value in the 3rd and 4th round. Edge rushers, defensive backs, you may be able to get that value because that's where you're right. First round picks are supposed to hit, but it's one person. Now, it's one person that potentially you want to hit and that you eventually maybe have to pay big money. But man, you go back to Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson made his bones with 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounders, finding absolute gems. Absolute studs, Hall of Famers.
Larry Allen, 12th round.
Exactly right. I mean, that's where you find multiple players. And if those guys stick on your roster, that's where you hit it big.
Absolutely. A couple last ones here for you. Mike, I know they're completely different sports, but I'm sitting there watching Shohei Ohtani, and I'm watching him, and I'm going like this. Holy cow. So wait a minute. This guy can win 12 games for you, throw 102 miles an hour, 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. He's the best power hitter in the game. Man, the value of that guy playing both ways has got to be a massive value. Now, I started thinking about Travis Hunter. Don't you think there's a value to that, Mike, for Cleveland? If you're sitting there at 2 and you do, Kevin Stefanski has a little Kyle Shanahan in him, maybe moving him around, maybe playing. Jay Gruden on the program a couple of weeks ago said that, hey, I'd let this guy play offense, and the first thing I would teach him would be the offense, and then put him on the defensive side. Mike, are we not valuing that enough? And are we just, because you and I do this and go, nobody can play both ways? That's just not happening. Well, I think the guys are a little bit different today than when you and I and Dion kind of did it. How do you see Travis Hunter and his value?
Well, guys are better athletes today than going back. Now, better athletes doesn't mean better players.
I got
Bigger, faster, stronger today in all sports, but it doesn't mean better players. Now, in some cases, they are better players. Travis Henry, I would go the other way. I would start him on defense and supplement offense. But look at Shohei. What did Shohei have to do last year? He plays both ways, but he had surgery and couldn't pitch. So that's the one thing. You expose them to more things on the field, and you expose them to more things on the field and the potential of getting hurt. Now, can Travis Hunter play every single play on offense and defense? I don't think so. As great as athletes are today, it's just too difficult in the NFL. The players are just too good. They're too fast. They're too physical. It's hard enough to master one position, let alone two. Do you want good at both positions, great at one position, very good at both positions? I'm sure Travis Hunter believes he can be great at both positions, and that's fine. But can you? Now, you could try it out. I certainly wouldn't try it full time, and I would have him on the defensive side of the ball more and supplement with the offensive side of the ball. But either way, you're fine. But I would certainly let him do it. Then it's just a matter of finding the right chemistry of how much do you play him on both sides. Because, again, it's not only both sides, it's 17 games.
Absolutely. And those offensive playbooks are like Tokyo phone books. I mean, it's just the retaining of the information itself is difficult.
And let's be honest. He caught some wide open balls in Colorado from Shedeur. Now, a time he got drilled on the sideline 2 years ago, he missed some time. Yep. There ain't going to be that kind of open field at the wide receiver position. He's going, even though the penalties have changed and that they don't take as many shots as they do, you still take some shots as a wide receiver. Those windows are going to be a lot tighter at the wide receiver position.
Mike, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, do you believe NIL is destroying college football?
No, I don't know. I listen, college football, the ratings are up. The stadiums are still sold out. I said this from the beginning. Is it going to look different? Yes, it's going. But it started to look different when Nebraska left the Big 12 and there was no more Nebraska, Oklahoma. You're like, oh my God, that rivalry is gone. And it hurts for a bit, but Nebraska Stadium still sells out. Oklahoma Stadium still sells out. Oklahoma's now made another move. So it gets tougher. You need a program a little more to keep track of the players. I can see how some people get turned off by it. I think last year in Division I, there were 43 different starting quarterbacks who came from the portal. So it can be a little nauseating. I know the Tennessee quarterback, Nico, who asked for $4 million and didn't get it and went to UCLA and got 1.7 or whatever. Listen, that's probably happened before, but this just became public and the kid can ask for whatever he wants. We're in an era. And again, I'll say this, Dan, because the adults didn't set up the guardrails. The adults ran from this. The NCAA couldn't run fast enough from this, and now they don't want to open their mouths because they get sued every time they do. So there are no guardrails put up so the kids can ask for what they want, and I don't blame them. But if you're going to ask for something, be prepared to be told no. You can try and pull your leverage because that's what gets you something, leverage. And in my opinion, he was a good quarterback, but he wasn't a great quarterback and one that was going to command that kind of money. But he asked for it. They said no. He moved on.
Mike, I said the same thing. I said, hey, look, you think that kid's going to be an NFL quarterback? If this guy can utilize the money he's making at Tennessee and in college, this is what you're supposed to go to college for. Capitalism and being an entrepreneur. I mean, other people in the tech business do this stuff.
Yes.
They leave college and start businesses. This is what we've done. But for 100 years, Mike, college coaches and athletic directors have taken advantage of this system. And guess what? The Notre Dames of the world, the Miamis of the world, those programs are going to stick around. Maybe it shrinks it down, Mike. Not everybody's going to win a national championship. And you know what? Nil is going to now. I think it's going to take the haves and the have-nots out of the game, and it's going to make it better.
Hey, five years ago, Dan, there was only a few teams that were winning the national title. That's not changing. And eventually there will be the revenue sharing based on the lawsuit. There'll still be NIL that'll have to be, vetted. They're going to eventually get streamlined this thing a little bit. Will they with the portal so someone can't transfer 4 times? I don't know. But one thing I will say, and you know this, people say, well, what do you think about it? And I said, when I started doing this, when we started doing this thing decades ago, we probably would have ranted and raved, oh, don't pay him, don't let him move. But you know what? Use whatever adage you want. The horse is out of the barn, the toothpaste is out of the tube. It ain't going back. So it's not worth complaining about it. It's like, okay, who deals with it the best? Now you see all these schools are hiring GMs. Right? The GM is becoming the important person to kind of manage the roster. Who deals with the way the college football and basketball and revenue sports era is going? That's who's going to succeed.
Last one here for you, Mike. I know you guys lost Al Golden. Notre Dame, I love Coach Freeman. What an upgrade from the guy at LSU. I mean, he has just been – and you know what, Mike? I tell you what I loved. I'm watching the I hated that Rocco left, Spindler. I hated to see that. I played ball with Spin, his dad up in Detroit, and I really loved the kid. But, okay, so he's moved on to Nebraska. They got a lot of great players there. Your opinion, you think they're back in that conversation again this year where they're again fighting for an opopportunity at a national title?
First off, how old does it make us feel when we're talking about playing with these kids?
I know.
I talked about it playing against Joe Alt. Against John Alt when Joe Alt was, left, Notre Dame, played against John when he was in Kansas City. Talk about aging us. But listen, so for the first time in 3 years, they're going with a quarterback on the roster. It'll be CJ Carr, I would imagine. You still, even though Spindler left, it's O-line U. Oh, yeah. They're loaded at O-line. Reardon at tight end will be the next one while they're deep there. With Love, they're set at running back. Not sure about the wide receiver position. Defense, they're stacked. I mean, again, they lost Al Golden, but you hire from within, keep the same system going. I think Marcus has just done a great job. And with doing a great job comes you're going to lose coaches. That's going to happen. Look, hell, they lost their general manager. He went to USC. I mean, that's what happens when you're good. But yes, I should. And plus, let's be honest. From a 4-team playoff to a 12-team playoff, it's easier to make the playoffs. So they should be in it, fighting to be in the playoffs every single year. And it might go to 16 teams, maybe 14 or 16 after this year. So, yeah, I think Marcus is rolling pretty well.
All right, Notre Dame, Miami this year. So we're going to have to get back on here. Notre Dame, Miami again, Mike. We got to do this. We got to kind of like spark it up a little bit later in the year.
Yeah, we got to think of something to go there. You definitely have the more experienced quarterback, that's for sure.
By the way, just so you know, Mike, he drives a Lamborghini now. I mean, I drove a Datsun. I drove a Duster around. This guy's driving a Lamborghini around.
But he did break up with his girlfriend. Maybe that's going to affect him. Who knows? Whoa, the Cavender twins, one of the other twin got engaged to Jake Ferguson.
Yeah,
the tight end from Dallas. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, thank you so much for finding time and working around it, man. I really appreciate you always doing that. God bless. By the way, make sure you tell your brother Bob I love him. He loves my wife. I mean, every time I see him, we take pictures together at the Super Bowl. Bob Golic's a dear friend of mine, man. I love him so much, as you are too. Mike, thank you, my friend.
You got it, Dan. Take care.
You got it. Our good friend, Mike Golic there. Love the Golics, man. Fantastic. Make sure you check out his podcast, too, that he does with his son, too. Those guys have really done a nice job, too, as well. So appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Do me a favor. Please hit that like button. Let's see what Bob's got to say. How you doing, Big Bob Brown? Nico passed on $2 million tax-free Tennessee. Yes, Bob? That's a big loss. Okay? That is, without a doubt, that is a pay cut. And you're right. 50% of that money, Bob, is going to go to Gavin Newsom. Okay? Hey, let me tell you, Bob, when you play ball in Tennessee, you get paid there with a little bit of liquor and a little bit of whiskey, and you make it out back in your backyard back there. And if you have a little extra job in the off season, you can go out there to the old still and cook up something you made down there. How you doing? Hey, and by the way, Suzanne, Big Sills gets people on our show that have opinions. You see, what we don't do here, I don't control my guests and what they're going to say. Unlike WIP or The Fanatic or anywhere else for that matter. You see, Sue, people got opinions. May not be Big Sills. Holy cow. She's related to LJ. Yeah. Hey, Sue, I'm glad you think about me, man. How you doing, sweetness? Hey, how you doing, Sue? Yeah, it's okay, Sue. Got me? You got me, Sue. How you doing? Yeah. Listen, LJ, nobody from Canada lives in Big Sills Head. You would at least have to be south of Canada and not drinking Similac. Hey, Sills, corn mashing is still. Yeah, those old boys have no fingerprints. I know. I've seen some of them guys. These guys are psycho, man. Oh, we still got. Look at this, man. I've moved off of one topic. Hey, do you know what we do here? We have topics. Sports talk. How you doing? Dander was great. Everybody's been great. You've been great. Okay? I do? Hey, Sue, one thing Big Sills doesn't do, I don't talk about other dudes or go to bars with them. You don't have to worry about me. Big Sills don't talk about dudes or go to bars with them. That's not what I do. Hey, Dan, we got about 14 friends of ours. You want to go to a bar? Nah, any chicks? No, that ain't happening. I don't go to bars with dudes. It has to be women there. Like, you know, those fantasy things those guys do? Okay? Hey, we're going to have a fantasy draft. How many guys are showing up? Oh, about 30. Well, how many chicks are showing up? None. Yeah, no. Now, I'll go to that if there's like guys bringing their old ladies. Now I'm in. Oh, you brought your wife? That's good. Okay. That's great. Sure. I'm all for that. I love women involved in sports. Shit, my wife's one of the greatest sports people I know. You don't go to bars with 30 dudes. It's not a good look. There's Big Sills with 30 guys. Hey, you know, where am I? Yeah. I don't know. How you doing? And I don't know. It's not where I'm going here. You need a mock draft. I've done 3 of them, Junior. Okay? I've done 3 of them. Okay? Yeah. All right. Should I take it? No, I'm not going to take a timeout yet. You imagine that? I could go 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. It don't matter. We got a new topic coming up. Hit that like button. All right? Got a new one here. So, oh, by the way, we got sleeper picks for this Thursday's draft. So we got rid of the Cooper DeJean one. We got rid of our exercise on the drafts. You hated TJ Watt for 32. Let's do this. Let me get my notes here. Now, here we go. Should Brock Purdy be paid more than Jalen Hurts? Let's take a look at this. Brock Purdy, he's 25 years old. He's 23-13. He's been to 2 NFC title games. 17-game average, 454 attempts, 307, 68 completion percentage, 4,045 passing yards, 28 touchdowns and 10 picks. And he's the third highest rated quarterback in the last 4 years. Hurts, 46-20. Spectacular resume. 2 Super Bowls, 1 win. 428 attempts, 276 completions. 64-4 completion percentage. I don't believe he's that. I think Hurts is more about a 68. I think he's right there with Purdy. 32-38, averaging for his, what is it now? 21, 22, 23, 24. 4 years starting. 32-38. 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions with a 93 quarterback rating. Isn't he the next guy up? Shit, you paid Trevor Lawrence $55 million. How many people in here believe Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Brock Purdy? I don't. Because if you're going to use the metric that you use for Jalen Hurts, the guys won more and the guys performed better. Name me one thing that Trevor Lawrence has done better than Brock Purdy. It's not winning and it's not performing. Get this. Here's Daz. Put Lawrence on the 49er team. Put Purdy on the Eagle team. You want to go there? Is that what you want to do? So, next guy up. The highest paid quarter, Jared Goff, is as accomplished as Brock Purdy. 0 rings. This debate's not about really Hurts. It's about the next guy up. Lawrence, Goff, and the rest of them. Every contract that comes up makes more. Are you trying to tell me Dak Prescott's a better quarterback or has done more? I'm using the fucking Jalen Hurts conversation for Brock Purdy. Why can't I use it for him? He's got a good team. He's got a good coach. Okay? Well, he's won. Dak chokes. Purdy doesn't. Shit, Purdy took the Kansas City Chiefs to a 5th quarter in a Super Bowl. Again, he's the next guy up.